All right, good morning, everyone. Welcome to the pre-market show. Hope everyone is having an amazing morning and hope you had a great trading day yesterday. So a lot of fun stuff happening this morning and as well as yesterday. So let's see how we can capitalize on some of these moves. So Norm will be joining us a little bit later in the pre-market show. So let's get started. As usual, guys, we'll go over our top plays and highlights for yesterday, which we had right over here. Here was our watches from yesterday. We had quite a bit. We also had some possibles on the low flow team. We'll put these down here. I just want to show you something on these. I didn't watch this, but I'm brought them back this morning just to kind of show you how these trade and how they're made out and how you have to be very careful on how you trade these stocks. But we had an amazing watches, guys, with Nvidia, JP Morgan, and UNH and Roku. These traded very well yesterday. So let's start over with Nvidia. Nvidia right off the bat, very strong, guys. A beautiful opening range on the 5-minute. A little bit extended, so it was tough to take this for opening range, right? It was kind of very strong at the moment. Then here you can see kind of gets a little bit toppy, consolidates, but overall really held this 9 moving average and the VWAP nicely. And you can see after a couple of minutes, you had to be really patient because it was banging his head against this level we had here, 193.35. Eventually was able to break out of that, and it just never looked back after that. Very strong. Again, another consolidation happening right around this area, around 195.50ish. And then once it broke out again, another nice leg towards the top. So again, Nvidia playing very strong yesterday, very clean moves on the 5-minute. You could place for an opening range breakout or for the breakout of this kind of somewhat of a wedge that was forming here, right? You kind of get a false breakout here, heads back down on this pullback, but eventually comes right back up against this level again and finally breaks out. So Nvidia traded very well yesterday, very strong. JP Morgan, guys, was another one that was also very strong. This one had earnings, also was very close to the all-time high, which is this 120.40. So what we had here though at the open, very choppy, guys. You can see here sell down, sells back up, but eventually it settled down and it was able to get above the high of the day and actually hold. And if you look closely here in this area, you can see another consolidation happening above this 119.40 level that we had. Finally breaks out of that and it heads all the way up towards the all-time high, which is 120.40. There you kind of get a consolidation that happens slightly under it, not at 120.40, slightly below it. You get a consolidation, kind of like a wedge happening here as well. This could have been a good entry for a continuation, and you see how strong this one breaks to the high of the day without hesitating and continues to head even higher, creating a new all-time high. So again, guys, JP Morgan was also very strong with some good positive news. The SPY was also helping with this. We'll look at the SPY in a sec. The SPY was very strong, so it was definitely helping a lot of these stocks move in this direction. AMD was beautiful, guys. Was one that out of the ones, all the ones I was watching, was the one that was actually heading south with some really good volume. So the opening range was not as clean because you do have this wick is too big, right? So when you see something like that, usually it doesn't give us a good criteria for opening range breakdown on the 5-minute. Eventually it does settle down. You get this other pullback here and it does sells off. But again, this would have not been a great entry for opening range breakdown. Yesterday on class 4, we went over all the strategies, including this one, and we talk about how this wick is, when it's too wild like this, you want to be careful because the stock could be too volatile to take in for opening range breakdown or break up if it was in the opposite direction. Here in the 1 minute, you can see it just kind of kept coming above the VWAP. Eventually, when it settles down and then goes below the low of the day, it becomes a beautiful short. You have kind of like a reverse ABCD pattern here. A, here's your B, and here's your support C point, and then drops down even further. So that was a great entry on a reverse ABCD pattern off the 1. Here we had J&J. J&J was, again, I was watching this one as well, but again, it engulfed here, but it was not clean. This is a very deep drop here, and then on the engulf, it's happening around the VWAP and all these moving averages. Not sure if that was going to be a pullback or head back down in this direction. Again, it just was not as clean, but this engulfing pattern, you got to be on the lookout for that. That's a strong signal for a reversal. It does reverse here and it continues to head higher, breaking the high of the day and hitting some of these levels. But again, not as clean, and J&J tends to be that way. It sometimes doesn't trade as clean. UNH, guys, was another one that, again, choppy at the open. Reminds me a little bit of JP Morgan, the way that one traded yesterday. A little choppy here, up and down. Each candle kind of engulfing the previous one. Eventually settles down and is able to break out of this 235.31 level, right? So after it breaks out of that level, you come back, get the retest, and then it takes off again. You get some loss of momentum on this 236 level, but eventually breaks out of that and becomes a very strong move towards the top. On the 1 minute, you can see several entry patterns here. You got nice ABCD forming here at this level for the breakout, and you can see how nicely it grabs onto this 9 moving average and heads higher. So again, UNH was also very strong. And last but not least on this list, guys, Roku. Roku was just unbelievable. We had some news broke out pre-market, so we had a nice little candle here, heading with some good volume. And then at the open, you can see how beautiful patterns forming, ABCD patterns forming back to back, and just on a beautiful, nice uptrend. Again, opening range breakup was good on this one as well. ABCD pattern was good on this one as well. Usually within an ABCD pattern, you could find a nice opening range breakup. And this one had everything going for it yesterday. Really strong, heading higher and higher, grabbing onto this 9 EMA and really just taking off here. So again, Roku was very strong, one that we're definitely going to watch today. And it was strong for the rest of the day, guys. This thing just kept going up. Did not want to lose any traction. You did get some healthy pullbacks, right? Some really healthy pullbacks to re-enter this trade or add to your position. So again, this was a great trade yesterday. One of the things I want to show you guys on these low flow stocks is here's what happens, guys. I want you to be very careful. We have one that's actually doing very well today, VIVE. I was looking at early this morning. Pre-market, very clean, very nice, heading up here. I think it was up quite a bit. But then look at the open, how nasty this gets, right? This is very difficult to manage your risk. There's no pattern forming here. And I guarantee there's a lot of people that are excited because this thing went from $3 basically all the way up to 7, 6 at the open, almost 9. But you don't want to be caught when this thing starts going the opposite direction. So again, very choppy in this area, and you can see the drop all the way down to its moving averages. RLMD, same thing, beautiful pre-market activity as a low flow. You get this one pop, then from there it just sells down, never looks back, right? And the one thing we always want to caution you is that these drops are brutal. That's the problem with the low flow stocks. We're going from $35 down to the VWAP. You're looking at $30. That's a $5 drop. Okay, so you want to be very careful there. SCS also has some fun already the last couple of days, very strong. Look at the open here, guys. This one candle drops from 15.50 all the way down to 13 in a matter of minutes. So again, this is the caution I want to give you on these low flow stocks. Yes, they're exciting on the way up, and if you're in the right trade, in the right side of the trade, but when you're not, managing your risk can be very, very risky. Good morning, Norm. How you doing today?
Hey, good morning, Carlos. Sorry I'm a few minutes late, guys. I have some work being done in the house. I had to talk to somebody, so trying to get caught up on the news and everything else going on. And hope you guys are doing all right. You doing all good, Carlos?
Yep, doing all good over here, man. Thank you for joining us. So absolutely, guys. Here we have the SPY, Norm. Do we have anything exciting besides more earnings coming up today that we should be aware of? I know you're catching up on the news now.
Retail sales came out this just a few minutes ago. It was the first decline, I believe, and it was for September. It was expected, I believe, a 0.3% increase, and it came out as a 0.3% decline. It's the first time it's dropped in, I believe, 9 months off the top of my head. Later today, we've got business inventories and home builders index at 10 a.m. Should be interesting with mortgage rates dropping again. What happens with the home builders? Got a Fed speaker at an event at 10:45. I don't expect too big of an impact from that. And that's about it on that front. We've also got Brexit talks going on over on the other side of the pond. So any news that comes out of that, we're coming up to the October 31st deadline on Brexit that Boris Johnson says he will not ask for an extension. So if any news comes out of that, it could move the markets. But other than that, I mean, we're relatively flat, down 0.1%. But after yesterday's big run, it's not too surprising to have that little bit of a pullback.
Yeah, I mean, we had yesterday was just unbelievable how strong the SPY was, right? So today we have a small pullback. Again, this is nothing compared to the move we have done over the last couple of days, really going down from all this bottom over here, 284, basically all the way up to almost to 300. So again, pretty nice move, pretty strong move from the SPY the last couple of days. All right, let's see what we have in our gappers list. Looks a lot smaller than what we had yesterday, but off the bat, I know we have VIVE. This one is a low flow. We have looked at this one before in the past. I believe when it had gap down here, but this one is 170, I believe. Yeah, 170 on the low flow, on the float size, and today is on fire, guys. 1.7 million shares traded so far. It is up 172% at the moment. Was probably at the 180 area when it was hitting 1150, which is your high of your pre-market. But again, guys, this is another low flow, and it looks like if you trade low flows, I will assume, I mean, I don't trade them often or almost at all, but I will assume that the pre-market activity is probably the time to trade these low flow stocks, right? So not sure if we have any low flow traders in the room, but the pre-market looks so clean. Usually when these stocks open up, it's a little bit probably too late, right? So pre-market activity looks very clean here, very nice little patterns going all the way from 6 up to 11 to 12 bucks. Again, as usual, guys, I'm always going to remind you, be extremely cautious with these low flows. And if you're new to trading, just avoid them completely. Later on, after you get better with your mid and large flow stocks, you can then add these slowly into your playbook by trading very, very small shares. I'm talking about 25 shares, 50 shares, very, very small, as you can get some kind of consistency and find a strategy on these. So this one is definitely active today. Tons of volume, 1.7. Not sure if we have any major news on this one, Norm. It's gapping up quite a bit. What I did notice,
it may be out there. I'm not seeing anything. As you know, this is not my wheelhouse. This is not what I trade. Trade Ideas has 170,000 shares, which is nothing as the float. Finviz has it a little over 1 million share float. Either way, it is tiny, tiny, tiny. Not the kind of stuff that I trade, but even just trying to find a little bit of news, I'm not seeing it. I know they announced an offering last week, and they took a dive on that. Maybe it's a bounce from there. But I'm not seeing anything other than that news that's 5 days old at this point.
Gotcha. What I do notice is, and I thought about you here, this the short interest on this is 43 on the short. So again, so people are definitely getting squeezed pretty hard here this morning. I mean, you're waking up and this stock is against you 173%. That is not a good look. So we'll see what that turns out. I'm sure part of this move here is people getting squeezed pretty badly here in this type of situation. Next, we have Bank of America, BAC. This one doesn't move great, but I think today they have news. They're up 1.6 million shares traded so far. Norm, what's the deal with this one? Earnings today?
Yeah, they released their earnings just a little while ago. They had nice, strong earnings, so that's popped them up this morning, and they're either at or very close to a 52-week high, I believe. 31.17 is their 31.17 is their 52-week high. So we're getting close to that.
All right, so 31.17. Yep, I see that right on here. That could be definitely interesting. We have some room to get into that area here. So now today they have a great pre-market activity. Bank of America usually does not trade this clean, guys, but again with some news. Some positive news behind them. You can see a nice pre-market activity, some great volume. The ATR is pretty small sometimes. It looks like it's been getting better over the last couple of days. But if you look at the daily chart, right, our ATR is based on a 14-day average. The last 14 days, you do see a lot of movements in this stock here. So a bigger range than usual. Normally it doesn't move as much, but again with the SPY, the way things have been with the markets, you can even see August, as we talk about. August has been a crazy month for a lot of the stocks. You can see here some of those huge ranges on the Bank of America. So we'll see how it plays today. Definitely one to watch with some earnings behind it that can give us some good opportunities. ABT is down here 3%, 144,000 shares traded so far. Pre-market activity is not looking all that clean at the moment. Daily chart looks a little bit all over the place. Seems like we're stuck in this area of consolidation, just back and forth, kind of a nasty range bouncing off. I believe this is the 200. Yeah, 200 moving average. So again, not the cleanest chart, but we'll keep it on here. Let's see if this gets better. It has a nice little drop today, down 3.3. Norm, on this one, do we have anything going on? Any type of news?
They released earnings this morning. Their EPS was in line with estimates. Their revenue was a little bit shy, and then their guidance, I believe they cut their guidance back a little bit.
Okay. All right, so we'll definitely keep an eye on them. They're hitting that moving average right now. Let's see if they can get a bounce. If they lose this area of support they have here, we definitely have some room to run here. So it'd be nice to see them lose this 200 moving average and hopefully get down to these areas. We'll find some levels in around here as we get into our second part of the show there, finding support and resistance. Let's look at X. X is on here, down 3.6, 124,000 shares traded. X has been taking a huge hit over the last couple of months. It's again really dropping hard here. Stuck within this range. Looks like at the moment the highs and lows from the last two trading days are all in here. I'm not seeing the cleanest pre-market activity yet, but X has given us a very good clean trading in several days within this consolidation here, right? We have a nice big range here. We have several days we traded for long and short, and it has traded very well. So let's see how it trades today. We'll definitely keep an eye on this one. Norm, any other news besides another? I believe this is one the CFO resigned.
That was a little while ago. Now they've come out. I believe they're going to have a convertible note offering that they've announced. So that's dropping it just a little bit.
Okay, excellent. So we'll definitely keep an eye on this one, guys. Could be interesting. We do have some room to head down towards the bottom here. We have some new lows around $10, $10, 10.50 is also an area of interest. So we'll see how this trades today. If we can get some more pre-market activity. Right now it's looking pretty crappy, not clean, very choppy. But if we can get going here with some good volume, we're starting to see some volume come in here. It can give us a good opportunity to play this out. All right, let's look at Nasdaq active, Nasdaq gainers. Let's start with ACHN. This one on here is it looks like a buyout, 7.2 million shares traded. It's pretty flat. So this one looks like a possible buyout, guys. What do we have on this one?
I have not looked this one up, but
looks like it looks like a buyout.
Yes, it is a buyout.
Yeah, it looks pretty nasty on the pre-market activity here. So we'll skip that one. VIVE we have, guys. Again, this one's trading very well in the pre-market. Again, it's very low flow, guys. 170 shares, not 170 million, 170,000 shares flow. Again, very low on the low flow side here. XBIO, this one doesn't trade very well. It pops up in our scanners quite often. Today has 1.5 million shares traded, but it tends to do this a lot, right? It'll pop up and it'll just sell off for the rest of the day and come right back down to where it was trading at. So I really don't like watching this one. Also more of a penny stock, trading around that $1 range. Again, just not clean, not anything that we want to focus on. BNGO, this one has 1.2 million shares traded so far. Wow, up 250%. Just want to check what the float is on this one. What do we have here? 4.87. So very low float here. We're going to put it next to VIVE. BNGO is up quite a bit with some serious volume. Pre-market activity, you can see the pop going on over here. Now, this one has been trading under $1, guys, so it makes it even more dangerous when you have these low flows that are trading under $1. You want to be extra cautious with this one today. But very active, good, clean pre-market activity for the low flow team, so we'll throw that on there. Next, we have ALRN. This one is penny stock, guys. Not really anything we want to get involved with. Trading at 50 cents. It does got some volume, 1 million shares traded so far, up 16%. But look at this pre-market activity as well. You know, at least if you're going to be trading these type of stocks, you want to have at least a good, clean pre-market activity. Look at VIVE. This is nice, clean pre-market activity. Some ABCD patterns, some setups turning on here, pretty nice. BNGO also has like an ABCD pattern for me here. It's just a clean pre-market activity. This one here does not have that at all, so we'll skip that. Volatility index should be pretty much flat right now. SCON, also another penny stock, not doing anything, not a horrible pre-market activity. A lot of the volume sitting in this one candle here. Looks like price on block trades at 170,000 just on this one 5-minute candle. Nasdaq index here pretty much flat for right now. FCEL, as we know, always on this list, but pretty much garbage. Roku is it's gonna be interesting today. Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. I'm gonna put this on here. So if you missed us yesterday, Roku had a news of Apple having the Apple service right in their devices. So that definitely pushed this up quite a bit. I think some of this drop was caused by the release of Apple, if I don't remember correctly, right? So we'll see how this reacts now. It's got a right.
One of those in there was Apple's announcement of their Apple TV Plus and their streaming service, giving it away for free for a year. And
right.
It's just been.
Nope. I think I might have lost Norm.
Hello?
Yep. Now I got you.
Okay. Apple TV Plus has just been one of the factors. It's between Comcast giving away essentially a Roku unit kind of deal and all the Disney and everybody else. It's been what dropping it. So yeah, one of those days in there was the Apple announcement.
Yeah, absolutely. So again, this one just been on fire, guys. Trading very well, finding a bottom all the way at 98, and then really coming back very aggressive. We did not expect this thing was going to bounce back the way it did. Now we're basically at a point of some support and resistance when we had this beautiful drop right on there. We expect this thing will at least pause here for a little bit before going on its next leg, if that's the plan. So Roku definitely very nice. Already has a good volume, 222,000 shares traded. Some decent pre-market activity, not as clean. Looks a little choppy, but again, definitely got some volume and it's been trading very well the last couple of days. BNGO, we have BIVE, we have ACHN buyout, so we're going to skip this one. IPWR, okay, pre-market activity, not great volume, up 150% this morning. Let's look at what the flow is on this one. APWR, yeah, very low flow as well, only 1.5 million shares on the float. Again, I think that the two that are looking great today for the low floats are BIVE and BNGO. These ones look great, and actually BIVE looking a lot better because it got some good pre-market activity and actually some good volume here. XBIO we looked at, again, not looking all that great. We're going to skip that one. MGEN, this one's also not looking good, very horrible on the pre-market activity. GRNQ, no volume. ATOS is on here. This one is on our list quite a bit here in the Nasdaq gain. It's Nasdaq active, but look at this pre-market activity. It has 118,000 shares traded, but just a horrible pre-market activity, so we won't look at this. ACRS not doing much, no volume. And last one, TECD, gapping up quite a bit here, 11%, but really no volume at the moment. Only 22,000 shares traded. All right, guys, let's see what you guys have on your end and what do you like this morning. Let's start over here. Norm, what do you like this morning besides what we have so far?
Man, that Nvidia run yesterday was awesome.
It really was.
I got about $3.50 move out of that, and I thought there was a chance it would test 200. It did, in fact. I'm very, very close.
Yeah.
I was out before that. As I went through, I knew the market was a little crazy. I didn't want to risk it, so I didn't hold as long as I should have. But nevertheless, and then it gave a nice reversal for a pullback after it failed and started coming back down as well. So I'll have my eye on Nvidia to see what it does today. Obviously, Apple has been trying to continue its breakout and failed a little bit the last couple of days. Come back down to 134, I believe what 138-ish was, or 238 was the high in that range. So I'm going to have my eye to see if we either try to maybe come test the 9 on the daily in the lower 230s, or if it wants to consolidate. It very well could sit and consolidate here for a few days, which would be interesting for another breakout. But I'll have my eye on that one as well. BBBY has been in play the last couple of days, so I'll have my eye on them, see if anything comes of that. I didn't trade it. I had it on my list yesterday, too. I did not trade it. And then this crazy Roku is back, so we already discussed that one. There's several things with earnings, so I'll see if anything develops. Maybe during their conference calls that are going on right now, we'll get something that'll hit the gappers, and I'll tune into that as well.
All right, excellent. Yeah, these look very interesting, guys. We'll definitely keep them on here. We'll take a closer look at them, see if we get some good continuation plays today out of them. All right, so scrolling down the list, what else we have? So ALXN, let's see what we have here. This one has a nice drop here. Not much volume, though. Only 1,400 units traded so far.
Whoa, that spread is a $1.60.
Yeah, look at that. So again, I think, and when this happened this morning. Yeah, this drop was this morning, but again, with no volume at all, guys. So nothing great here right now. Let's see what else we have down here. J&J, possible continuation play. Let's see how that is turning out. Actually, yeah, this was more. It didn't trade as clean yesterday, but today I can see on the daily how it possibly can break out of here and do a nice consolidation, continuation play. It is up 1.5 already. It doesn't have the volume, but you do have a lot of room here. Look at this, guys. If you can get above the high, this high right over here, which is the last area of resistance, and again, you can have some room to actually get going here. So it could be a good one to put on your secondary list, guys. The daily on this has been just nasty. Look at this this range here on here, gapping up and down, some pretty nasty candles, and that's how I pretty much traded yesterday at the open. Was not clean at all. You was able to scalp a few cents out of it if you got some good entries, but overall not trading very clean. All right, let's look at
if you notice too, this is the first time it's actually well, I guess it hit a touch above the 200 on the daily on October 2nd. But other than that, it hasn't been above the 200 daily since July.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see what happens with it here. It's
Yeah.
an interesting chart. I mean, it's an ugly daily chart recently.
Mm-hmm.
It's real gappy and strange, but
Yeah.
now we got that moving average in play. Could be interesting.
Yeah, the overall range here, right? You got this area that has been resistant since this big drop, right? If it can break out of that, it could be very clean, hopefully. All right, so definitely, we can add this to our secondary list. Maybe let's see how it turns out. Let's look at SNBR. SNBR at the moment, what do we have going on here? So the volume is a little bit light here. I do like the gap above some of this area here. Has been pretty strong the last couple of days. You have an area of resistance here that we're breaking out of, right? We broke out of that probably sometime last week, and we're getting some continuation play out of this. What I don't like right now is the volume is very light. Pre-market activity is not looking all that great. This could be a good one to also watch for later on. Is this the all-time high here also? Because it looks like we're getting pretty close to testing it on the pre-market high. Could be. Yep, looks like it is. Yeah, this could be interesting, guys, for, if it can get moving towards the top. I would like this to take this long if it can get above some of these areas of resistance here. But at the moment, just the volume is not really there. But I see what you're looking at. That is a good one to have on a possible secondary watch for later in the mid-morning or so. Nugget, as we know, this is a gold index right now. I don't really watch this type of index in my list, so I'm not really trading them or looking for opportunities on there. Brian is really good at these. He usually takes swing trades on there on Nugget and other ETFs as well, but I'm not going to be watching this one. WDAY here. What do we have going on? We have some good volume, 78. Not a great pre-market activity, but the daily looks interesting, right? Looks like it wants to drop and possibly test some of these lows down here. So that's definitely looking interesting, that area. They're down 6.3, which is nice. Yes, this could be a good possible. Volume starting to trickle in, so this will be hitting our gappers list in any minute now. So WDAY, we'll put that on there. Next, what do we have? MCK. All right, MCK gapping up pretty nice here as well, but again, not seeing a lot of great volume, up 6.4, but at the moment, pretty light on the volume, as we can see here.
Nasty spread there too.
Yeah, right. Nice the spread. Yeah, nasty spread as well. CAH, this one's also gapping up nicely, 4% above some of these areas of previous resistance. This one might be holding it back a little bit here. Daily looks very interesting, guys. I do like this daily chart. You have a nice flow. There's a beautiful gap, and you can see we have some room to run if we can get going towards the top side. Now, what we don't like right now on this one is just the volume is very light. It is a nicey stock, so it could get going. But again, it's going to be a situation. Are we going to get the volume today and create a nice movement, a nice pre-market activity? Right now, it's looking pretty light. Only 22,000 shares traded at the moment. Again, another one for a great secondary list for us to watch later on. Or also look for in our scanners, right? We have our turbo breakup and turbo breakdown. We can check in that area and see if any of these tickers pop up and start moving. CGC.
Carlos, can I hop in here real quick and
Absolutely.
say one thing's being asked on YouTube? So somebody asked what guidance is. There are three main things that in almost every earnings report that comes out. You've got earnings, which is the bottom line. You've got revenues, which is the top line, number of sales. Then the company will a lot of times give guidance, and Wall Street analysts will give an estimate of, for instance, how much business a company will do in the next quarter or the second half of the year looking forward. So the revenues and earnings are from the past quarter. Guidance is what the company then comes out and says they think they will be able to do in the future, whether it be for the quarter, the next half, the next year, the rest of the year, any of that. So that's the difference. Guidance is forward prediction of what the company believes they will be doing business-wise.
Yeah.
Is the easiest way to put it.
Absolutely, guys. So heading back to CGC. Here we don't have great volume right now. Again, it's trying to put it in a bounce, right? The last couple of days has been very active. These stocks have been taking a hit. CGC, CRON, all been bouncing, taking a hit and kind of bouncing back a bit. I know Afria was the one that reported earnings, I believe, right? They had some positive news. They did get up a little bit, probably brought everybody else up with them. But look at this now, man. They're actually, looks like they want to head back down. They got some good volume. This one might actually pop up into our scanners pretty soon. So again, on CGC and the other ones, not seeing anything all that great as of right now. Afria is the one that seems to be having some good activity as of right now. All right, let's go see what else we have. UAL, believes United Airlines. This one's also gapping up 2%. Again, not much volume right now, guys. So we have quite a bit that does not have great volume. That could be great to see if they hit our scanners, right? So the workday we do have already, so I put that on the list. Let's look at Teva. I see a few people mentioning Teva as well. Teva has been difficult to trade, guys. When it's been in this range over here, it's been stuck here for some time. It did break. We did get a couple of breakouts, but the moves have not been clean based on what we've seen so far. So right now they're gapping up 2.3. They do have 1 million shares traded so far, so they got the volume. But again, it doesn't move much. This is why it's not coming up in our gappers list. ATR has gone down to 37 cents. Used to be a lot higher when we used to trade this quite a bit when it was up in the $20 range. Now the ATR is just so low. To get a good move out of this, it's very difficult. If you go back and look at October, November, December, look how nice this daily chart is, right? You got a nice range here. A good ATR, was very tradable. We had a lot of great moves during that time. The last couple of days, it's just been hanging around this, stuck in this range here, right? So again, it has some movements. It has gapping up 2.9, but I'm not going to watch this one, guys. I think we have plenty of other stuff that's going to be moving a lot better. I'd rather watch even Bank of America on a day like today instead of Teva, to be honest. And Bank of America doesn't move much, but they do have some earnings today. All right, so let's look at AXM, and then we'll start looking at two more, and then we'll wrap it up and go over to announcements. AXSM, this one here. Yeah, no volume, guys. I know I do see the pop 7.9, this nice 8%, but just no volume at the moment. Okay, let's do one more. What do we have here? Let's do Microsoft. We'll check MU pins later on when we come back if we get a little more time. But let's check. Let's check here what we have on Microsoft. What is that doing this morning? So Microsoft. Ooh, not looking too good. 28,000 shares traded so far. Pre-market activity is really light, guys, not doing much. And it's stuck within this consolidation here, not really gapping up or down at the moment. Just pretty flat. So we'll skip Microsoft for today. All right, guys, so let's get over to announcements. And then we will hop on to fine-tune this list a little bit more.
Yes, you wrapped up classes 3 and 4 last night, Carlos. Still got class 5 tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Eastern. DAS number 1 Best Trader competition ended yesterday. You can check the leaderboard at onebesttrader.com. Bearable Traders is honored to have been nominated to the Benzinga FinTech Awards in the Best Financial Literacy Tool category. If you appreciate the content that we put out, we sincerely appreciate your vote. We're almost to the end of this, so just a few more days. Help us finish strong. It takes about 2 seconds if you follow the link that AB will put up both in the chat room and on YouTube. Just a couple of clicks and you're done. You can vote 1 time per day per device. Meetups, St. Louis, coming right around the corner. I can't believe it's almost October 19th. William and Kurt will be there. San Diego, October 26th, coincides with the Trade Ideas Conference. If you are in the area, or you can make it to America's finest city a couple of Saturdays from now, we would love to see you. The TI conference is a great event, goes all day that Saturday. The meetup will be that night. If you are unable to make it to San Diego, they do stream it online. I highly recommend taking some time out of your Saturday and spending some time watching that. It's well worth it. I did so last year. I watched the stream, and it was well worth giving up some of my free Saturday time for. Clearwater Beach, Florida, November 16th. More info will come as we get closer to that event. Lifetime memberships, I believe there's a discount still going on. Discount code RECESSION. That should be expiring very soon. So 30% off lifetime memberships. I'll get that updated and let you know if anything changes. And then 1 week chat room trial discount. You can try the chat room out for a discount. It does not auto renew, does not change to another kind of membership. It's just a week. Give it a try. It's not for everybody. But if you want to see us trade live all day, continue on after the pre-market show, finalize our lists. Andrew trades, Brian trades, I trade, Eamon trades, Peter trades, Thor, Williams trade reviews, Kurt, everybody else in the room. We would love to have you and have you give it a shot. If you hit the subscribe button and the notification bell on YouTube, you will be notified when we put out new content or when live streams start, such as the pre-market show or Williams trade reviews.
All right, excellent, folks. All right, so let's get to it, guys. We have quite a bit here, as we did yesterday as well. And again, that's the great thing about earnings season. You get a lot of opportunities to be able to watch more stocks and see what type of opportunities we can get to trade. So let's look at Bank of America we have here. So as we know, Bank of America had earnings this morning. Today they're up 1.8, sorry, up to 2 million shares traded so far. And what I do like, the pre-market activity is very clean for this type of stock. Usually Bank of America does not trade this clean, but you can see here we have a good pre-market activity. So let's look at some levels. High of our pre-market sitting at 30.52, so we'll mark that down. Above that, we do have an area. Let's move this down a little more. We got some more new information. 31.04, we have an area here of the resistance. So again, that could be a nice little pop if we can get above this, back towards the high of the pre-market. Right now we're sitting at an area of support right on here. You can see that area of resistance now becoming support. It was yesterday's high as well, so marked right by your dash chart over here. Towards the bottom, guys, previous day close, and below that you have the highs and lows from the last 2 trading days. So again, Bank of America doesn't move very much, but on a day like today with some catalysts, it can definitely hopefully get going and give us some opportunities. ABT, what I like about ABT is that it's dropping nice here, down 3.5. If it can head lower, it'll be nice, but at the moment, guys, again, just pre-market activity is not looking all that great, pretty much flat. So we'll put some levels for it, and then we'll see what it does as we get closer to 9:30. The low on the bottom here is 78.49. If we can get below that or towards that level, that would be nice. Right now, pre-market low is sitting at 78.88. So let's see if we're going to get a bounce from that or not. Towards the top, guys, again, with this consolidation, you have a lot of levels in here, highs and lows from the last 2 trading days. You got some moving averages coming in, plus the previous day close all the way up here, hanging around 81.98. If we can lose this 78.49, we have some space to run, which is nice. The next area of possible support that I find is right over here around 77.81. So we'll mark that down there. That's a good drop if we can get below the 78.49. So that's what we have for ABT. Again, daily chart looks a little bit choppy. What I like that it's stuck within this range. If we can break out of it, we can definitely get going, but overall might not be the one that stays with us on the final list. X is also kind of the same situation, guys, kind of stuck within this consolidation range. We got highs and lows, previous day close, all in this area here. So again, we got plenty of support and resistance where the price action is at now. If we can break out of that, we have this low all the way down here at 9.97, and then we do have an area between that, between the price and the low here at 10.47. You can see several days bouncing off that 10.47, so you want to mark that down. If we can lose yesterday's low, this can be a good area to try to get into. But again, right now, guys, the pre-market activity is not looking all that great. We do have some volume on here, 230. We are down 3% this morning, and we do have plenty of levels towards the top and towards the bottom, so don't need to add any more on X. Roku, I'm definitely going to watch, guys, putting in a beautiful pre-market activity, some really good volume, 259. Traded very well yesterday, and we stopped right at the area of the last resistance, right on here. You can see we came up all the way towards the previous day close, which is sitting at a 132.82. We're slightly above that now, up slightly, almost 1%. If we can break out of this, right, we do have the next level right over here at 140, right? $7 away, but again, the ATR on Roku is pretty high. Let's go just to check. Yeah, $6 ATR, so that is doable. The way it ran yesterday, I think it gave us like, what, $10 or so. That is not a far-fetched move for Roku to hit today if it's going to be strong for the day. Above that 140, if we can continue strong, it will be 145, so your next level, and then all the way up here, 152. Towards the bottom, guys, I think you have plenty. You might want to mark down this area here. You got a moving average around 130. If we lose the previous day close and we can get a pullback, a 130 area where you have this moving average could also be an area we can find some support on the way back down if we are going to be weak for the day. Nvidia, guys, pulling back a little bit here. Nvidia actually is an interesting situation. It can go both ways. If you can rally up and get above the previous day close, we do have, again, the high of yesterday we can try to test. Or if we're heading down towards the bottom, we do have this 190, which was prior resistance, pretty close to it. Eventually breaking out of that yesterday, pretty strong. And again, strong almost for the entire day. So if we go back over here, see if we could find something down in this area. Yeah, we do have something right here at 193. So I'm going to mark down 193 because from 195 all the way to 190, that's a big drop. I don't expect that to happen for it to completely engulf yesterday's candle. I don't think that's a probability, but we could come down, test this 193 and then head back up. So let's mark that down as a possible. And I like Nvidia to see what's going to do today for a possible continuation. Apple is losing it a bit here. Again, it looks like it might want, like Snow mentioned before, might want to come down and test this 293 as well as this moving average in this area. So I'm going to mark down 232.38 and also 230.54. These are two good areas that can come back down and find some support. The low of the pre-market on Apple at the moment is sitting at 234.26. right over here. So let's see what it does around that area, if it's going to hold and bounce back up, or are we going to test some of these lows down here. At the moment, oh, let me delete this here. I don't want that there. There we go. At the moment, towards the top, you got the lows from the last two trading days. You also have the previous day close, and above that, you have the most recent all-time highs up here that you can try to go and retest again. So again, Apple is interesting. Going to keep an eye on that one. BBBY, actually I'm short bias on BBBY, heading back down, putting in two good red candles the last couple of days. On this one here, what I like about it is it gapped down and sold off. The next day it gaps up and sells off even further down towards this area of last support. So now we're slightly below that. The last area of support that we have is this 1171. If we can get below that, possibly this moving average here 1150 could be an area where you can get into, and you also have a gap that it might want to try to close all the way down at 1102. So it is interesting. It doesn't have a great volume right now, but it's one that I'm going to put on our secondary list, as well as J&J. So J&J is also, again, we talked about it earlier, how it can possibly be breaking out of this area of resistance that has been since it had this beautiful drop here. Has not been able to get above this resistance or above the 200. This is the first time, besides this little pop that it did here above 200, that it's been above that. So as far as levels, I'm going to mark this one here for sure, 134.66. That's the last time we had the previous resistance up there. Price action slightly above that. If it can get going, the next level of resistance that I see is going to be this 136.39. Right on. He has the next area of most recent resistance or support that you have. In between here, there's absolutely nothing. The 200 moving average now is below the price action. So that'll be the target that we'll be aiming for if this thing gives us an opportunity to take it long. Towards the bottom, guys, the high from yesterday, I'm going to mark down the previous the low of the pre-market right here at 133.66. So we'll have that down just in case this thing rejects and starts heading down. Does not look like that so far. And you have the previous day close and the highs and lows all in this area here, since we've been basically consolidating here for a very long time. So we'll look out for a nice pop here on a breakout. Workday, I also like Workday towards the bottom, guys. We're starting to get some volume here. This thing should be coming up in our gappers list now. Yeah, here it is. So it's down 6.8, has 109,000 shares traded so far. There are several levels on here. I'm going to mark down the low of the pre-market. Well, that looks like it can change pretty quickly. 168.51 at the moment. You can see that 158.61 has some areas of support on this daily. The next one that is very clear here is going to be this 163.91. So if we can lose this low of the day here, low of the pre-market at the moment, this 163.91 could be a great area to get into if we can possibly be weak for the open. Then we also have our low floats here, guys. Again, VIVE is one that's very active, already 2.2 million shares traded so far. High of our pre-market 1150. Above that, this thing has ran up before, up to 1820. Between that, you do have some areas of consolidation around 1363. And right in here, what do we have in here? Yeah, another area consolidation right on here around 1530ish or so. So again, you got some areas there. Towards the bottom, price action is sitting right at an area of support at 10. What's that? 10. Almost $10. So it makes sense that these things are on the whole dollar number. You're going to see that area consolidation. So $10, mark that down. And then towards the bottom, guys, you have a moving average here at 874, and then you have your low of your pre-market all the way at 530.32. So again, plenty of levels here. You can see if you look at the 5 minute now, you can see how these levels react to the current price action, right? So we went back and found these price levels, and you can see how they're reacting here, hitting 1.874. Once you get to that whole $10 mark, you're going to have some areas of support and resistance. So we'll see what it does, if it's going to hold that $10, head back to 1150, or are we going to collapse and head lower? So that is definitely the low flow of the day. BNGO is not looking great, guys. This thing's all the way up now, right back down, going under $1. So I'm just going to remove this one. The low flow of the day is going to be VIVE. So keep this one on your list for the low flow team. But again, as I always mention, guys, be extra cautious. If you're starting out, just avoid this completely. If you want to trade it in sim. You know, see how you make out in sim first, and then eventually, as you get more experience, you can build that into your playbook. All right, guys, so let's just recap quite a bit here today. We have Bank of America, looks good for a possible long. If it can hold here, has some good volume, up 2% this morning. ABT, not looking all that great in the pre-market activity right now, but if it can lose this 78.92, we do have two levels that we can possibly get to on the daily, but again, not looking all that great. Might get released, might drop it off my list as we get closer to 9:30 and fine-tune our list when Andrew comes on. X is the same situation, guys, not looking all that great at all. So I'm going to remove X now, actually, because it's stuck between a lot of support and resistance here, so we'll get that out of the way. Roku, guys, is definitely one to watch. Very active this morning, 297 shares traded so far. Had a great day yesterday, looking for a possible continuation. We have some great levels up here, 140, 145, and 152. Nvidia, also possible continuation, guys. Pre-market activity is not looking all that great, pretty light. Might not make our final list when we fine-tune it. Apple is interesting for a possible short, heading down towards 232, so we'll see how that plays out as we get closer to the open. BBBY, as we mentioned, again, not much going on here, guys, so this is a possible. I'm going to remove this one from our list. J&J is interesting if it can get going, guys. It's starting to get a little bit of volume, not great, but we do have some space up here to run as we are over the 200 moving average as well. We haven't been up here in a while. Next area of resistance, 136.39. And Workday, guys, another one as well that if it can break down from this low of the day, we start to get some volume. Just hit our gapper scanners right on here, so we'll keep an eye on how this one is going to develop. If it's going to lose the low of the pre-market or if it's going to bounce back. All right, guys, that is what we have so far. Andrew's coming on now to finalize the list. Take care on YouTube, guys. Trade safe, and we'll see you guys tomorrow, 8:30 Eastern time.
Take care, guys. Trade safe. Be sure to hit the subscribe and notification bell, and you'll be notified of the new content as it comes out. Good morning, Andrew. Andrew was here.
Good morning. No, I'm here. So I'm not sharing my camera,